Hello, I'm Doug Shaw and welcome to the Locals Diaries Home Studios, a joint project between the London Borough of Sutton and Arts Network Sutton, sponsored by the National Lottery Heritage Fund. Home Studios is an online creative space for people to make, play and share. Each session will introduce you to a creative idea, painting, illustration, poetry and more, using materials that can be found in and around most homes. And don't worry if you're not feeling like the world's most confident artist. The main purpose of these sessions is to try something new. The Locals Diaries is a London Borough of Sutton archival project which aims to record how residents are managing during the current COVID-19 pandemic. Many people will already be keeping a written diary, but your journal can easily include drawings, photographs, collages, and even some of the things we'll explore during these home studio sessions. The main thing is, we want to hear from residents across the borough about how you're managing through this strange time. If you want to get creative and submit an entry inspired by today's session, or you're already documenting your experiences, please find details of how to get involved in the text below. Today we're going to look at lettering and how you can use different styles of lettering to enhance titles on your artwork or maybe make them into artworks themselves. And if you are keeping a diary at the moment, then maybe you can use some of these styles as a way of enhancing some of what you're writing down. So I'm going to look at three simple styles initially on a how-to, and then maybe give you one or two other examples. And all I'm using today is some paper, pencil sharpener, rubber for my mistakes, and guidelines, a pencil and a couple of pens. So let's clear these out of the way. Oops. I'm going to start with my name. My name is Doug and I'm going to do a simple kind of bubble lettering style for that. And I'm just going to mark out on the page a couple of guidelines in pencil. Hope you can see those. And they're there just so that I can make sure the letters are more or less the same height. So I'm going to draw in a kind of bubble shape now, just gently with the pencil at first, just to get a rough idea. Coming around there for the D. And then for the O. And the U. Remember, these are guidelines, so they'll get rubbed out once I've finished. And then the last one, so these are taller and thinner, so let's come around. So G, that has a little bit that comes in here, doesn't it? And then drops down a bit. So let's okay, so that way I've managed to keep the letters, the outlines all roughly the same height. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my black marker pen, just a thin marker point, and I'm going to start to mark the lines in. And I'm going to turn the page as I go, just so that I'm sort of drawing in a way that feels more comfortable for my hand. That's the D. I'll bring it round again and there's the O. I love the sound the marker pen makes when it moves across the paper. And then so there's my basic outline, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a little line down here to make it more obvious that that's a U. I think I'll put a little O in there and a very little D in there, just to create the effect of these being a little bit like a balloon. I could add a little mark in there for the G if I want to, but I think I'm going to leave that one like that. Now I could, in fact I'm going to, just add a sort of bubble effect. I'm going to use a different colour pen here just to add a little highlight. So I'm going to put one here, another one here, one here, and one here. So as you can see, that makes them look a little bit more 3D and make them look like they're a kind of bubble shape. Now you could add a little further embellishment if you wanted to. So I'm quite interested in my music. If I wanted to convey a sense of that in my drawing, I might just add a couple of musical notes just as little additions. So let's pop a couple of those in here. And of course, if you were making this for somebody else and using their name, and maybe they were into, I don't know, flowers or something like that, you could add a little symbol in just to personalize it a little bit more. Okay, now if you wanted to, you could rub your guidelines out when you're done. I'll leave them in, and we're going to move on to second lettering style. This one's still quite bold, but a little bit more blocky, I suppose. So again, I'm going to just put myself a couple of guidelines in so I can get my heights about right. And yeah, I'll keep with the pencil for now. So I'm just going to mark in a simple, slightly more sort of boxy style this time. You'll see what I'm up to very quickly. This is a 5-letter word, very useful for greeting people. So this would be a great one to put on a card, maybe, if you wanted to send someone a card. Just see how they're doing at the moment. I'll put a line in there. I'll put a couple of lines in there. Okay, so I'm making the word hello. And what I'll do now is I'll just go around my guidelines. So I'm going to do everything that's in up and down first. I'll put that in. There we go. Come down here. Now, as you can see, I'm left-handed, so I tend to come across the work. So I need to make sure, just give it a second to dry so that I don't smudge things too much. This is good practice for drawing straight lines as well. Oops. Or not. Right, let's just quickly turn that around. And again, we'll just put a bit more shape in here. Come back along the bottom. Don't forget those bits. And here. And there you go. I've got a bit more to put in there. Hello. Now, again, if you wanted to, I'll try a different form of highlighting this time, still just using the same one extra colour, but this time I'm quickly going to go around the outside just to make the whole word stand out a little bit. You could go around the inside too if you wanted, but let's just quickly mark that in and see what kind of effect it makes. So all I'm doing is tracing around the outside of the marks I've already made. I'm just going to again turn it round so that I'm drawing in a way that makes me feel comfortable. Coming back along here. Oh. Okay, so that's another letter form there, again quite bold, stands out quite nicely. I'm going to do one more, and I'm not going to do a guideline for this one. I'm just going to be a little bit more random, but basically just show you that there's any kind of lettering can be useful depending on how you're feeling. So I'm going to do another message. So that's my name. Hello's a greeting. This time, well, let's see if you can figure out what I'm doing. Here we go. So I'm kind of going to just make this up as I go along. I'm going to let the shape of each letter in some ways sort of inform the next one, if you like. Let's have a look. Now that was a bit wonky there, but that doesn't matter. I can make that all part of the style look. So you may have already figured out what this word is, but I shall keep going. And what I'm doing, actually, if you can see, but I've got a thinner style on one side of the letter and a sort of bolder, fatter style on the other side. So just to create a bit of, well, something a little bit different. And I'm going to put U. It might get a bit tight down here, but I'm going to quickly put U under here. How could that go? Something like that. So I'm kind of keeping roughly in line with the other letters, but say it's not really, this isn't meant to be exact, it's just a free form, making it up as you go along, just to show you that you can be quite loose with these kind of things, develop your own style. There you go. Thank you. So that would look really nice again on a card. If you had a neighbour who'd done something nice for you and you just wanted to acknowledge them, it'd be very easy to make something like that. And again, it'd be very simple to decorate it. You could add other colours in. So those are three quite simple examples of how you can use lettering to enhance your work. I'm going to show you a couple more before we go. Just reach over here. These are some I made earlier on today. So here's one that just asks, how are you? And in this one I used a simple sort of pencil grid to mark out the basic shape, and then roughed in the letters in pencil, and then I went over them in a thin marker pen, and finally I added a little bit of pencil shading just to create the effect of being kind of blocks, if you like, sort of stony blocks. And I played with this how are you idea a little bit more. So here are three others that I tried. This one's based on a kind of circular theme, so you can probably see there is a little pencil grid, again just to get them all roughly the same size. Then I just played around with some more bubbly kind of shapes. This is meant to look a little bit like kind of metal, if you like, so lots of rivets in the metal, and again using a simple grid just to block out how I was designing the letters first of all. And then this last one, I've created this in a kind of heart shape. So I'm asking the same question, how are you, but I'm using different styles and different techniques to illustrate my work. So hopefully that's given you a few ideas on how you can think about lettering in a more illustrative style. Thanks very much for playing along. If you'd like to share any of your work online, please use the hashtag #thelocalsdiaries, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye for now.